Okay, we have just imported our templates, so now we're ready to start a drawing, and here I see my dumb assembly where I have all the pieces that I'm going to dimension for this assignment. So what am I going to do? Up here under the new design, instead of a new design, I'm going to do a new drawing, and I'm going to do the drawing from the design. Okay. When I first go into this, you're not going to have an option for a template. It may show up, it may not. You're probably going to have to go to Browse, and then you're going to browse to your template folder. And if you are doing an inches project, you should select ANSI inches. If you're doing a metric project, you should select ANSI millimeters. So we're going to go in, select ANSI inches. Okay, after you've used those templates, they should automatically populate. Now, the other thing we see here, it says, what do we want to reference? Do you want the full assembly? Do you want visible only? Do you want to select a component? So let's go ahead and select and pick the arch first. So we're going to say OK. And now we see we have a nice template. The part is starting to come in maybe a little bit small, so I might want to adjust the scale. There's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. We don't want things microscopic on our 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. We want to have the views basically cover the page, but not run into the margins. And that includes once you add dimensions to them. So first thing it's asking is, where do you want to put the base view? As long as you built the arch so that that's the front view, you're good. If you picked a different view for the front, then you might have to select one of those other views for the front. But the front view should be the most descriptive, should be the arch. Okay, so we will go ahead and select that. Say OK. And then we'll go up to projected view, and we will project the top view, the right view. I'm just clicking and it gives me a preview, and then the check mark will drop all those in the right locations. Now, if you do not have the hidden lines on your right view and your top view, then there is a setting. If I double click, I can edit that. There's a setting for that. You are only seeing visible edges. We want to see the hidden lines. So you may have to open that up and turn that button on. On the other hand, on the isometric view, I'm going to double click that. It is inheriting that from the parent. Okay, so whatever the front view is, the other views, there were no hidden lines on the front, so you didn't necessarily see that. But we do not want hidden lines. We usually shade the isometric as long as your part is not black in color. So we'll go ahead and select a shaded isometric view. Okay, so that is bringing in and setting that up. So we bring in a base view and then projected views. Again, the program is very intuitive. It starts at the top and works left to right. Now would be a good time to save this as fun dimension drawing. Another thing you'll notice here at the bottom, it is auto-populating this title block, okay, which is really kind of awesome. The only thing that we need to do is we may need to type in the component name, because this is the project title, this is the project folder, and this is the title of the file. So this is the arch. So I'm just going to double-click down here and name the component. I'll finish my properties. It tells me my scale, it tells me my sheet size, and everything. Okay. You'll also notice over here that the other components could have been brought in, and it just turned the visibility of those components off. What I want to be able to do is I do not want 4 separate files. I want one file with 4 pages. So down here, I'm going to go ahead and do a quick add, and it'll add another page. So I still have my arch there. Double click to go back and forth between pages. Let's bring in a base view, and you'll notice it wants to bring in the whole assembly again. So what I'm going to need to do, let's go ahead and pick 1:1 scale. Of course, you can adjust this after after you bring the part in if needed. But we'll go ahead and click 1-to-1. And then you got to tell it where to put it. And we're going to say OK. And then what I want to do is deselect all the components other than the square window. Okay, and after looking at that, maybe that square window is small enough. Maybe I want to go a 2-to-1 scale. And let's see how that looks. Now, the only thing is, you'll notice that does not change the scale on the second page, and it's also called an arch now. So the first time you drop it, if you get a scale that doesn't work, first time you drop it is what populates the scale. So we probably got to go in and edit the scale, which is 2-to-1, and edit the name square window. Square window block, whatever you called your file. Okay, and if you look at how we dimension this already, when we're not going to need the top view. We're only going to need the right view and the front view. So we've got plenty of room, and we can slide these around. And of course, what do we notice? In fact, we might need to edit this view. Sometimes the scale on the isometric, it's okay if you need to make the scale a little bit smaller. Okay, we're also not getting the hidden lines, and we definitely are going to want to see the hidden lines on the right side. Okay, we're not going to need the top view for our dimensions, so I'm just going to leave it off for now. Okay, and of course, what are we going to do? We want 4 pages, so we're going to go ahead, bring in base view again. I think we can probably go 1-to-1 on these. Only one that might have been different was the square block. And then let's see, what do we want? Let's turn off all but the round column. And project the top view and the isometric view. And finally, add one more page, and let's add base view again. And here you're going to do your combinations. One-to-one scale, say OK, and put your combination in there. And if we're looking at that, looks like that scale is going to be a little bit off. So how about a 0.75 scale? Okay, that basically fills my page then. Again, edit view, and let's make them show the hidden lines. Isometric view. Isometric view, we can do shaded. And we're going to have to edit the component name because it always brings in whatever the previous component name. So this is combo blocks. If you change the scale from the initial population, you have to manually type it. Okay, so at this point, after a little bit of editing, I guess I still got to edit this one. What is that? The round column. Okay, so at this point, we have all 4 pages in Multiviews brought in. Now we need to look at the dimensioning. Make sure you save your file.